Should your kids worry about having a roof over their head or just surviving in general if their parents can't make the ends meet? Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I have been counseling men and women who have been victims and perpetrators of abuse for many years now. I've got several comments like this on my post about not believing that children should have to pay rents to their parents. And Hailstorm, I think, has commented a few times now. And I'm gonna give the same answer that I've been giving. If your kids would be homeless and have no food as well, we all should pay rent and food bills as a family. We all should split rent and food bills to survive. That is not abuse or wrong. So again, I don't know what your situation is. So I'm not going to speak about your situation directly, but I'll speak in general terms. As having children is a huge commitment. It is a physical, it is an emotional, it is a financial, it's a commitment pretty much in every single way that you can imagine, not just for 18 years, so you don't, cut it off at 18, but for the rest of your life. I would say that, again, I don't know your circumstances because sometimes things happen. People get ill, people get whatever, so if there's like something where maybe a parent died or something, or a person got ill, that may be a bit of a different circumstance. But what I will say, generally speaking, is it is poor parenting to make your children have to worry about survival. Their survival, in having to worry about their survival, so just having their general needs met, which is food, water, and shelter, and clothing. So I think that's not a child's responsibility to have to do that. You are parentifying your child if you are making them do that, and that can be and is abusive in a lot of circumstances. And again, I don't know what your situation is, but I'm going to tell you, as I would tell anybody else without knowing their situation. Just generally speaking, if you're just forcing your children to pay bills, to say we can't make it. So I do think, this is my opinion, but yes, I do think that I don't think children should have to worry about that. I don't think that children should have to give up their childhood to worry about something that should be handled by the parents. I do not think that. I think that is selfish on the parents' part to make them worry about, their basic needs. That is what parents are supposed to be for. Children did not ask to be brought into this world by their parents. I'm going to stand on that. And I think that a lot of children who grow up this way, and I know because I've counseled adult children who grow up this way, end up resenting and or hating their parents for making them do that. It also takes away from them their own needs and their own maybe desires that maybe they had. So you are actually chipping away at a young person's livelihood when they do that. So when people, this is my experience as a therapist and doing this for many years now, when people are put into this situation as children and they're forced into this situation to have to take care of their parents, they're not only taking care of themselves, they are taking care of you, a grown adult, which is selfish of you to ask. They then start to become angry, they start to become bitter, and they start to become resentful, and they can't speak up about it because, they're forced to feel guilty and to put your feelings before their own. And unfortunately, long-term consequences of that means that they end up not wanting to have children of their own. They have problems in their interpersonal relationships, maybe choosing partners because they're still stuck in survival mode, and unfortunately they start to normalize being stuck in struggle mode and struggle love and survival mode. That's exactly where that comes from. And so you need to really think about those sort of things before you ask a child to do that. And I think that's very selfish and irresponsible. And I don't, again, I don't know your situation, but I'm just speaking in general terms, because there's a lot of people that sort of hopped on here and said the same thing. Well, if you stay with me, you're going to have to pay bills, blah, 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 blah. So if it falls into that category, then it certainly applies. Also, I think the biggest thing here is financial integrity and financial health. And I think this is when people do stuff like this is oppressive to their children's livelihood. It also doesn't teach them well about money and finances as well. So children actually start to have a negative relationship with money as they become older. So forcing them to pay your bills isn't helping teach them financial responsibility. And you have to lead by example with that. And if you're not financially handling your bills well or paying your bills well, like if you're in survival mode and you can't make it without your kids, like what were you doing before your kids became of age to pay bills? Like how were you managing food and things like that? And how much longer are you going to, make it a requirement that your children have to be under your thumb to help you and whatever partner you have to survive? How much longer are you sort of going to guilt your children into doing that for you? Because that's exactly what you're doing. And I can tell because you're trying to guilt me into saying something different even on this post, and I don't like it and I don't respect it. So you just need to take a look at what it is that you're doing and the messages that you're sending. Lastly, I'll say this, because again, a lot of people who kind of comment this, and again, I don't know you, but I think most importantly, you need to think about the type of relationship you want to have with your children. Do you want to have a good, healthy relationship with your children where there's reciprocity and you respect each other? Or do you want to have something where your children are really the parents in this situation? Thank you guys for listening. Like, follow, and share if this has been helpful.